Hello everyone, I hope you all are keeping well. Today we will start with a new topic, that is telling the time. So let's start. Now we have to my right side, we have this, we call it this one as this digital clock. So this digital clock shows the time as numbers only. So we have this left hand side number, we call it this R as R's, we call it this as R's, and to the right we call it for the minute. So how do we read this time? We will read as 2 hours. That means the time is showing 2 hours. So remember, for digital clock, it shows the time as numbers only. Now here, this side, this one that we see here is called the analog clock. This analog clock shows the time with the hands. Now we have, when we look at this clock, we have 2 hands. One is the short and the other one is the long. The short hand is called the R hand. The short hand is called the R. That is, this one is called the R hand. And then this long one is called minute. So know it, the short one is called, the short hand is called the R hand, and then the long one is called the minute hand. Now here, when we look at this clock, we see 12 numbers on the clock. That means, and then each number on this analog clock is an R. That means when the R hand moves from one number to the next number, that means it shows that 1 hour has gone by or 1 hour is passed. Now, and then this R hand, that is the short hand, it goes all around the clock 2 times in a day. That is, one time it goes 1 round from midnight till noon. That makes 12 hours complete. And then from this noon, it goes 1 round again and then goes back to 12 midnight. That is, goes back to 12 again. So it goes around the clock. That is, the R hand goes around the clock. From this one, it goes around the clock 2 times in a day. So 1 round is 12 and another round 12. So that makes 24 hours. That means in one day we have how many hours? 24 hours. Now, when the minute hands move, now this minute hands also move. So as the minute hands move, the R hand also move. The R hands also slowly moves. So when this minute hand goes all the way around the clock, this R hand slowly moves on to the next number. That is, to move on to the next R, that is the next number. Suppose this one, I'm going to rub here this one. Suppose this one is pointing at 3 and then this one is pointing at 12. That is, your minute hand is pointing at 12. Now when this minute hand moves around the clock, goes around the clock 1 round, this short hand slowly it moves on to the next number. That is 3 will go on to 4. So that means the minute hands makes the R hand move to the next number. Now, and then we know that we have the what? How do we use this AM and PM? Now AM is for anti-meridian and then PM is for post-meridian. When do we use this AM and PM? This AM we use for the time in the morning, that is between midnight and midday, that is in the afternoon. That means when the R hand goes 1 round, complete round, it changes from AM to PM. That is in the morning, AM, and when it reaches this 12 noon, it changes to PM. That is, we use this AM for the time in the morning, that is between midnight and midday. And then we use this PM for a time in the afternoon, that is between midday and midnight. Now this one, this time AM, when the R hands move from this 12 and then that is at midnight, when it goes 1 round and then goes back to 12, that is for the AM, and then when it goes one back round from noon till midnight, that becomes PM. So that's how we use for AM in the morning, that is between midnight and midday, and PM, that is for the post meridian, we use for the time in the afternoon, that is between noon, that is midday, and midnight. Now let's talk about the minute hand. How do we read the minute hand? Now let's start. Now let's count for the minute hand. Now how do we count for the minute in a clock? Is that we start from the top, that is at the top, we write as 0. We start with a 0, or we call it o'clock. And then we count by 5 each. That is 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50, and 55, and that goes back to 60. But we don't write 60. Instead 60, we write as 2 dot and then 0, 0, or we call it o'clock. So that's how we read the minute in a clock. That is, know that in between each of the numbers there are 5 minutes. So when you count from here, suppose there will be 4 lines in between each of the number. That is, this first line will be count for 1 minute. That is, for 1 minute we write as 0, 1. This will be your 2 minutes. This will be your 3 minutes. This will be your 4 minutes. And your 1, which is in this line, will be count as 5 minutes. So that's how we count. And then 4 marking, and then your 5th will be your 10. That is 6, 7, 8, 9, and then 10. So you want from this 1, we count as 5 minutes. For 2, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50, and 55. So that's how we count the minute in a clock. Now let's try to read by looking at the clock. Let's try to read the time on a clock. Suppose I'm going to mark a long hand straight on this 12, and then shorthand points at 4. To find the time, to read the time on the clock, first what you have to do is, the first step is to look at the hour hand. Now here in this clock, this hour hand is pointing exactly at 4. That means we write as 4. So now the second step is, first step is to look at the shorthand. So shorthand is pointing at 4, so we write as 4. And the second step, we put the dot, 2 dots. And then third step, we will look at the long hand. Now this long hand is pointing at o'clock, right? So we write 2 dot and then 0, 0. So we put 2, 0. Or the other way we can write is, we write as 4 o'clock. Now let's try to change. Now let's change the position of the hand of a clock. Now this time, this hand is pointing just in between this 3 and 4 here, the short hand, and then the long hand is pointing at 6. Now what is the time? So first step is to look at the short hand. So the short hand has passed this 3 hours and then has moved on past this 3. So that means it's 3. It's not 4, it has not reached 4, but it has passed 3. So we write 3. And the second step is 2 dot. We have written 2 dot. And then third step is, we will look at the long hand. Now the long hand is pointing at 6. That is how many minutes? That is 30 minutes. So we write as 30 here. Know that the first number will be for hour and the second number will be for the minute. So to find for the first number, look at the short hand. And for the second number, look at the long hand. Now, there is another way to write for this 30 minutes. That is, we know that in 1 hour, that is when your long hand makes one complete round, it makes 60 minutes. That is, it completes 60 minutes. That is 1 hour. That means when the long hand moves one round, one complete round, the short hand, that is the hour hand, moves to the next number, that is 1 hour. That is, we know that 60 minutes. Now let's do this one, next one. That is your 3, your long hand. Now your long hand is pointing at 6 and your short hand is pointing in between 3 and 4. That means the short hand has passed this 3 number. So we write 3. It has not reached 4, so we will write 3 only. It has passed 3 only, so 3. And then second step is to put the dot. So we have done with the dot. Now look at the long hand. Now this long hand is for the minute hand, so we know that long hand, that is 6, is pointing at 6, means how many minutes has passed? 30 minutes. So we write 30 minutes. So there are other way to write the time, that is, how do we write? We write as, since 30 minutes has passed, so we write 30 minutes past 3. That means 30 minutes has passed 3. So what we do is we write this minute one first, and then we write this hour number second. Or there is another way to write. Instead of 30 minutes, we can use the word half past. That is, this clock is of a circle. Now, if I make it into half, that means this part is your half. That means half turn. That means this long hand has completed half turn. That means it's half. That's why we use this word, half past. That means 30 minutes has passed 3. And we know that one complete round makes 60. So half of 60 is 30. So 30 minutes has passed. So we write 30. We write as half past 3. Remember, we'll use this half past when your long hand is pointing at 6. Now, let's go to the next one. Now this time, I'm going to point long hand towards this 3 and then short hand between, somewhere between 6 and 7. Now here. Now how do we read this time here on this clock? First, what we have to do is we have to look at the short hand. Now this short hand has passed, it's not pointing at 6, but it has passed 6. So we write the time as 6. And then second step, 2 dot. And then third step is to look at the long hand. Now your long hand is pointing at 3. That means how many minutes has passed? 15 minutes. So we write 15 minutes. Or there is another way to write the time. That is, from half, if we make it into half again, that makes the quarter. That is 4 parts. Quarter part. Right? So that's why for 15 minutes. So if it takes quarter past, that means 15 minutes has passed. Now that means it will point at 3 here. Exactly. So half, it points at 6, and then for the quarter, it cuts here, right? So exactly at this 3, that is 15 minutes. So we use the word, for 15 minutes, we use the word quarter. Pass, and we write this R number here, 6. So for 15 minutes, I've used the word quarter, past, 6. So, quarter past. That is half of 60 is 30, we know that, right? So if we make it into half again, 30, half of 30 is 15 again. So this is your quarter. So remember, 15 minutes, that is quarter past 6. Now when your long hand points at 3, means it's quarter past. It's quarter past. Now let's go to one more. I'm going to change the position of the hands. Now this time the long hand will point at 9, and then this short hand points at 9, and short hand points somewhere here. Now here, how do we do is, first our step is to look at the short hand. Now this short hand has just passed this 3, so our timing is still 3. And then 2 dots, and the third step is to look at the long hand. Now long hand is pointing at this 45 minutes, so we write as 45. And what is the other way to write is, or the other way to write is, here when we cut this half into half, we got this quarter part, right? This quarter part. That is, quarter means 50. That is, from 60, if we make it into half, we get 30. From 30, if you make it half, we get 50. That is your quarter. So here, how do we know that this quarter? When we count from this 12 till this 9, when we count, we know that there are 5, 10, 15. That means only 15 minutes is left to go to the next number, right? Now this short hand has just passed this 3, and then it's about to go to 4, right? So when this long hand point reaches this 12, automatically this short hand will go to the next number, that is 4. That means to go to this 4, how many minutes is left? You count from this 12, this side, 5, 10, and 15. That means only 15 minutes is left. So for 15, we have used the word water here. So here, we're going to use the word water. That means only 15 minutes is left to be, that is, to go to the next number, that is 4. So we don't write here 3 here. It says quarter to, if you write 3 here, it's going to be wrong. It should be quarter to the next hour, that is, the next hour of 3 is 4, so we write 4. We will use the word to only when your long hand, that is your middle hand, points towards the 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th. When your long hand points towards, I repeat again, when your long hand points towards 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th, and 11th, we use the word to. And for pass, we use the word pass when your long hand is pointing at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. We will use, for this side, we will use the word pass, and this side, that is to your left, we will use the word to. Now, let's do some more questions on this time. Alright, now let's go to this next questions. Here, this next question, it says, write the time shown on the clock. Now, this is the time shown on the clock. We're going to write in digital time. So, how do we write in digital time? Now, here, what we have to do is, first, we have to look at the shorthand. So, we will look at the shorthand now. Now, this shorthand is pointing in between 6 and 7. That means the shorthand has just passed 6. So, we write the time as 6 first. Then put a dot, and then now look at the long hand now. This long hand is pointing at this here, at this mark here. So let's count how many minutes has passed. Now we know that from here, from 12 to 1, we count as for 5 minutes, and then from 1 to 2, another 5 minutes, that makes 10 minutes. Now this long hand is pointing at this mark, so we will count till here. So from 10, we count as 11, 12, and 13. So that means 13 minutes has passed. So we write 1, 3. That is 13 minutes. So 6 hours, 13 minutes. Now let's look at this clock now here. Now this clock here, this shorthand is pointing in between 8 and 9. And then it has just passed this 8. So what we do is, we will write 8, and then put the dot, and then look at the long hand. Now this time this long hand is pointing at this mark. So how do we count? We know that the 60 is 30 minutes. So let's count from here. From 6 to 10 is 40, and 8, that would be 45, and then to 9 is, sorry, this is 35, and this should be 40, 45, and then count to 10, that makes 50 minutes, right? And then from to 11, that makes 55. So till 11 is 55, so we will count till here. So from 55, we count one mark, that is 56 and 57. So that makes 57. So we write our time as 8:57. So the time, this clock is showing 8 hours 57 minutes. So we will try to solve again one more questions. That is, this will be the last questions. Here we're going to estimate the time. That is, we're going to roughly find the time. That is, not the exact answers, not the right answers, but close to the right answers. So let's try. Now here, the minute hand is missing here. Only the hour hand is given here on this clock. What we have to do is, by looking at this hour hand, we're going to estimate the time. So now here, on this first clock, this short hand, that is the hour hand, is pointing exactly in between 2 and 3. Right? So it's pointing exactly in between 2 and 3, so we will take it as half minutes past. That is half past. That is 30 minutes past we can take. That is, this short hand has crossed this 2, has passed this 2, so we'll write 2. And then for the minutes, since it's pointing it exactly in the middle, that is full round, 60 minutes, half of 60 is 30, so we will make it as half past, that is 30 minutes has passed. So we write 2 hours, 30 minutes have passed. Why 30? Because it's pointing in between these two numbers. Done? Now let's go to this next one. Now here, the short hand is pointing just above this number 8. That means it has passed this 8. So we write as 8 first. And then for the minute count, how do we do this? It has just passed this 8, so we will just assume that 10 minutes has passed. So it has just passed this, so we'll write it as, we will take the estimate for the minute number, we will take it as for 10 minutes. That is 8 hours, 10 minutes. Know that? Estimate means it's not the exact answers, but the answers which is close to the right answer. Now here, now let's look at this again. Now this, our hand has crossed this 3. So we write the time as 3. And then it has just crossed this 3, and this short hand is just about to reach to the next number. That is to the next hour, just about to reach. Now here, just this hour hand here, we have taken as 10 minutes past, right? Here, because it has just, this short hand is pointing just above this edge, that's why we have taken as 10 minutes. Now this one is just above this 4. This short hand is pointing just above this 4. That means we will take it as 10 minutes is there, 10 minutes is left to go to the next number. So how do we do is 10 minutes means from here till 11 is 5, and another 5, that makes 10. That means it's 50. That is 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 50, 55. That is 40, sorry. We'll read again. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50. So that makes 50 here. So we will write here 50 minutes. Or we can write 10 minutes to 4. So it's going to be 4. And then how many minutes is left? 10 minutes is left. So we can write either 3:50 or 10 minutes to 4. Because it is just above this 4, so we have taken as 10 minutes to 4. So that's all for today. See you in the next video.